Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever heard of money savings challenges? They're actually something that's pretty new to me. I just recently read about them, but I found them very interesting. They're supposed to help you kickstart your money savings journey if that's something that you struggle with, if saving is not your strong suit. Or they can be a fun way to just challenge yourself to save a little extra cash. The most popular one out there by far is the 52-week savings challenge. Here's how it works. You start out by saving $1 the first week, $2 on the second week, $3 on the third week, and progressing all the way up to $52 on the final week of the year. If you did this, you would find yourself with an additional $1,378 by the end of the year. And while that's not an earth-shattering sum, it can make a difference. You have to bear in mind that almost 70% of Americans don't even have $1,000 saved up. So if you were to do this, you certainly could put yourself in a better financial position if you are someone who has put savings on the back burner. And also, having a challenge, so to speak, can bring some excitement to savings because, let's face it, savings on its own is inherently kind of a doldrum subject. Now, I've also heard of people doing the 52-week savings challenge in reverse, and that is exactly what it sounds like. You save $52 on week 1, $51 on week 2, $50 on week 3, working your way all the way down to $1 on week 52. In the end, you still end up with the same amount, $1,378. It just depends how you want to stack your savings. Do you want to put the bigger amounts in the beginning and get them out of the way? Or do you want to start with smaller amounts and help you build momentum? There's really no wrong way to do it. It's just personal preference. But there's one more approach to the 52-week savings challenge, and that is to have it in a random fashion. You don't have any sort of ascending or descending order to the numbers. Instead, you just jumble up the numbers. You still save the same amount, but you do it in no sort of order whatsoever. For instance, you could write the numbers 1 through 52 representing the amounts that you would need to save each week, each on a small piece of paper. Toss them into a jar, and then at the start of each week, you could draw out a piece of paper which would give you the amount that you need to save that week. In this case, you may get $42 on week 1, $13 on week 2, $22 on week 3, and so forth. But in the end, you still end up with that same exact amount, $1,378. Now, personally, I feel like this approach makes the challenge a little bit more fun. It adds that element of surprise, not knowing exactly how much you're going to have to save each week. So if I were to do the money saving challenge, this is the approach I would use. There's also a supersized version to the 52-week money savings challenge, and that is where you put away $10,000 over the course of a year. This challenge has you start off by saving $125 week 1, $150 week 2, $175 week 3, $300 in week 4, and then turning back to $125 in week 5, repeating this cycle all the way up until week 49, where you save $200, then $225 in week 50, $250 in week 51, and $325 in week 52. And voila, in 1 year's time, you have saved up $10,000. Now, I really like this supersized version, so I actually think I'm gonna do this challenge. And I'm gonna do it because it sounds challenging and it sounds fun, but I'm gonna randomize it. I'm not gonna do them in that cyclical fashion. I'm gonna write each number down on a small piece of paper, toss it in a jar, and every single week I'll pull out a number and see what amount I am saving that week. I think adding that randomness makes it more exciting. It makes it more fun. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Now, if you wanted to save $10,000 over the course of a year, of course you could simply put away $192.31 each week. In the end, you would have that same $10,000. But I think it's more fun to save a different amount every single week. Ultimately, you can set any number to be your money goal. It can be $1,378 or it can be $10,000. There's nothing inherently special about any of those numbers, but if they appeal to you and they motivate you, use them. Do a money challenge. But if there's a different amount that you want to save up for, go for it. Create your own money challenge. They also have a middle of the road version where you save up $5,000 throughout the course of the year. But again, the actual number doesn't matter. All that matters is that you save. Sometimes thinking of yourself as being in a challenge and having a specific amount to hit every single week and a larger goal to hit at the end can serve as that extra motivating factor that can get you to save. If being in a money challenge is what gets you to save money, then let's do a money saving challenge. Now, I'm really partial to these weekly savings challenges because I really think it's important to get into that habit of saving money, but by no means is that the only money savings challenge out there. There are so many others. Seriously, Google it. They have a monthly money savings challenge whereby you would allocate your savings over the course of months rather than on a weekly basis. They have a throwdown money challenge where you would actually challenge a friend or a family member to see who could save the most amount of money over a predetermined amount of time. Now, if you do this one, I would recommend that the prize for the winner not be financial based because you don't want to blow all the money you just saved. So maybe the loser would have to cook the winner a home cooked dinner or something along those lines, because you don't want to just spend all the money you saved, but it is fun to kind of challenge a friend or a family member. So if you're interested in the money throwdown challenge, I highly recommend that one. They also have the round up challenge, whereby every time you spend some money, you round up to the nearest dollar, put that change into a savings account. They have a lot of credit cards or apps that will automatically do this for you. And there are a couple that I read about that I actually didn't know were challenges because they're actually just how I live my life. Like the spare change challenge, where you take all your spare change, you throw it in a jar, and once that jar is full, you take it to the bank and put it in your savings. I thought everyone did this. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below, but doesn't everyone have a spare change jar? So I've done this ever since I was a kid, but it's not really all that impactful anymore, being that the vast majority of my purchases are on a credit card, so there's really no spare change, but I still do have a change jar. Fun fact, I actually have a spare change jar at my mom's house. She throws her spare change in it, and once it's full, she gives it to me to put into my savings. So thanks, Mom. Then there's something called the $5 bill challenge, whereby anytime you receive a $5 bill, you don't spend it. You automatically save that. So you're beefing up your savings $5 at a time. Now, I don't follow this one exactly, but when I was a kid, I made it a rule that I would only spend 5s, 10s, and 20s. I've never spent a 1 or anything higher than a 20. And I have no idea when I made this rule or even why I made this rule, but it's been my rule for my entire life. Fun story, when I was like 14 or 15, I was going to the bank and I was bringing in my stack of 1s that I had gathered from the course of the week. And keep in mind that I'm from a small town where literally everyone knows everyone. And the bank teller, Carrie, asked me, "Did you get a job as a waitress?" And I was like, "No, why?" She's like, "You keep bringing in all of these 1s. I'm like, "Oh, no, I just don't spend 1s." So, I mean, it's literally been my rule for my entire life. I still follow it to this day. I've never spent a 1 or anything higher than a 20. I should actually make a video on some of the weird money rules that I have for myself. Most of them, I have no idea where I came up with them or why I came up with them, but I have a lot of strange ones that I follow. For instance, at some point, I made it a rule that I wasn't going to get married until I had saved up $1 million. But I made this rule when I was so young that I genuinely forgot that it was a personal rule that I made up. And I started to think that it was just a rule that everyone followed. So by the time I got to my early, mid-20s, a lot of my friends started getting married. And I remember turning to my mom and I was like, "How are they all millionaires already? What am I doing wrong?" And she just looked at me and she said, "No one has that rule except for you." And I genuinely remember my face dropping. And I was like, "What? I thought you had to save $1 million." And she's like, "Why would you think that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just thought that's the way it was supposed to be." I truly forgot that it was a personal rule that I made up. I really thought it was something that everyone had to follow. Ultimately, I did get married. Did I have $1 million saved up? Nope. But I can tell you it was actually a very, very hard decision. And I kind of wanted to delay my marriage until I actually hit that goal. But I realized that you don't have to have $1 million in order to get married. I don't know what I was thinking. Now that that side tangent is over, saving actual dollar bills really isn't that impactful anymore, again, because the vast majority of my purchases are done on credit cards, but to this day, I do not spend dollars or anything over 20s. And I definitely can say that I really think that this helped to kickstart my savings journey. So if you use cash, I highly recommend using one of these money rules. Ultimately, the moral of the story is I love money savings challenges. It brings some excitement to an otherwise really boring subject. Saving money is honestly about as exciting as watching grass grow. In the short term, not much happens, so it's really hard to get excited about it. So sometimes I get it why people don't save money. If you spend money, you get instant gratification. You get the thrill of taking that vacation. You get to experience that new TV you just bought, or simply a delicious meal. If you save money, not a lot happens. You miss out on doing something fun now, and you get to watch your account go up by a couple dollars. Big whoop. That's why I think money savings challenges can be so great. They can bring a sense of excitement to an otherwise really boring subject matter. You hit little goals and you experience little victories every step of the way. If you do the 52-week money savings challenge and you are successful at saving that prescribed amount every single one of those 52 weeks, you get to experience 52 little victories all the way up to that major victory at the end of the year. So why not do a money savings challenge? Do you have any that you're willing to try? Or do you have a certain amount that you want to save up and create your own money challenge? Let me know down in the comments below. That's going to do it for me today, guys. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Or if you know of anyone who might like this type of content, please consider sharing. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.